I'd like to show you something.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this,
You have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
Good evening. How are you all doing tonight? Welcome, one and all, to Toxic Tuesdays Scream Edition, episode 148. So I apologize. So I'll fill you in on what happened. So tonight, obviously, there's some changes going on around here, and one of the things is that this is the first stream that is being dual streamed to the green button. And I learned today the hard way that if you set up a stream in advance, 24 hours in advance on the green button, it automatically deletes it after 24 hours. I should have paid attention. So I had to recreate the other side's edition at the super duper literal last second. So either way, by the way, also, this is the first show where not only are we dual streaming onto the green button, but once we get to the clips, which will be around the second hour, we're going to go exclusively on there. So we can play a few handful of clips. I'm sure Mark always picks the good ones. So we don't have to question or guess or suspect whatever what he chose, because we know it's all going to be good. What Mark chooses simply just is. So anyways, happy that you are all here, and I'm happy that we're doing this show. And yes, this is going to be a very spooky edition this month. We got more horror coming later this month, and it's going to be diabolical. So I'm going to acknowledge some super chats right away. Right when I created a stream last night, Blade Nicotera left for $10, just $10. Says nothing and he leaves. So I literally made money in my sleep last night. That's pretty awesome to say. I made money in my sleep. So how do you like them apples? I like them apples. So I think that's pretty great. So we also got Kingsport Kel for $5. Says, I was high drunk and was listening to Astro Creep. I will give you a slight edge of it over Sex or CISO. Blur the Technicolor is classic. Stay classy. Well, thanks for $5, bud. And thanks to Blade for leaving the overnight 10 as well. But dude, man, hey, it's a great White Zombie album. I'm glad you're coming around to it. It seems like it's like you were kind of like a skeptic, and now it's just like you're slowly transitioning. Like Nick was right. Blade for $10 says another 10. Blade, you are a very, very, very generous man. Thank you. That's crazy. And there goes another 10. Thank you, sir. Hey, I appreciate that. Enjoy the show. That's what we're here for. Just enjoy the show. But let's acknowledge these faces because you've all been here patiently waiting. Davina Duckworth, sort of Poopus Cuber, Vince Womack. How's it going, Vince? Nice to see you, D-Bud. Justin Eretcher, who's in that chat tonight because he's in Orlando, so he can't really be here. Jonathan Conroy, beep, bop, boop. How's it going, Cavatino Cavalryman? Che, how's it going? 11 Alpha, what's going on? Of course, Blade Nicotero, and of course, Late Night with JT Gunn. He's been a member for 10 months, which I didn't say you were right. Well, hey, it's okay. We can't all be perfect. And thank you, Dustin. It's not even close. I mean, come on. George Bonnie, 90. Nice to see you, bud. Long time no see. Hopefully you are well. All right. We're bringing the first dude in here. We'll bring in Mark D with C, the man who's going to really help the show really ascend now that he's going to be basically a animal let out of a cage on the green button. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that I hope so. Right? Can we just watch the whole movie? No, just kidding. But yeah, good to be back. I've been away for a couple weeks. If hopefully some people noticed I wasn't around.
How was it, by the way? Tell the truth.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, I got to do a ton of videos on it, but. I apologize. I picked up a cough, and every time I go on a plane, I get freaking sick. Maybe I should wear the stupid mask. Who knows? But anyway, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. But, yeah, so I apologize if my voice is gone today. But yeah, we were celebrating our 30th anniversary, so we planned this trip for a long time. So lots of food, lots of Well, I didn't do any mountain climbing. I took the train up, but amazing views of the Matterhorn and just the Alps and Switzerland and some good food. And yeah, it was just a great time. So yeah, I'll be catching up and being back on YouTube and doing some videos. But yeah, we got some fun tonight though. Yeah, once we're on Rumble. But I guess you came too early on Rumble, I guess, Nick, right?
I did. I splurged way too soon. It wasn't fun of me doing that. And I'm just like, oh, now I gotta start all over again. So I had to be like just at the last minute, you guys
figure it out again, right? Yeah, because you don't do something all the time. Yeah, so yeah, we're all set for Scary Movie tonight, and it's gonna be awesome. And looking forward to covering Scary Movie, right? It's Scary Movie, isn't it?
Of course, it's Scary Movie. I mean, it's the Scary Movie. Let's make that clear here, Mark. Okay. It's the Scary Movie. Come on. Who you crapping? Who you crapping? And yes, folks, go ahead. Good.
Well, I was gonna say once we go on Rumble, like I have to show this view of our heroine here just before she meets her demise in the garage. But I guess can we show this on YouTube or
I don't know if that counts or not. I really don't know whether it does or does not. What's up? Yeah, oh god, yeah, right, for real. What's up? Oh man, that spawned off a generation, I swear. Welcome, Emily Kruger. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Yeah. No, dude, this is gonna be fun. I feel like this is a great first flick to really, especially with like all the crazy dialogue, since this movie's like a movie and a parody at the same time. It's one of those times where it does try to be two movies and it actually works. Because sometimes when you bite more than you can chew, you get a very polarizing result. This freaking works. But let's bring in our other dudes.
Bring in other dudes. They're gonna be jealous.
Like Tom Connors.
Hello, Nikki. Do you like scary movies?
Yeah.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey, I'll ask the questions here, bud.
Don't hang up on me.
If a train's leaving Cleveland at 6 p.m. and another train leaving New York at 2, at what point do I stop making sense?
Yeah, hold on.
Shit, it's been too long since I took the SATs.
Time's up.
Oh, Mark, you got a ghost face coming for your head.
Yeah, shit. Good thing I better grab my phaser.
Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong.
What's everybody doing?
Oh, we be doing, man. I just saw you a few minutes ago. Now I get to see you again. I mean, what a genuine privilege.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that I have a love-hate relationship with. I love it. I love the franchise, but I hate what it did to horror movies for several years, but I'm sure we'll discuss that a little bit.
No, we're gonna have that conversation because, like you, I love this movie. I'm a big fan. It's one of my favorite franchises of the genre, and yeah, I'm definitely the response to it. It's kind of like the Marvel effect. It's like, I love my early Marvel movies, but what I hate is the after effects. Yeah, we'll get into there, but we got a Keto Simple one who's now up in the front when he is stuck in the back. How does it feel to have finally come out?
You know, I've been waiting a long time for this. Feels good. Feels good. Air's a lot cleaner out here. A little less farty. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But I was gonna say, I was thinking the same thing, Tom. I was like, this movie's awesome, but like it totally fucked horror movies for like a decade.
At least, yeah.
I'd say, in a lesser extent, is still going on to stay, but we'll get into that part because there's
few
a
horror
whole
movies
other
can live up to
conversation.
this.
Oh yeah, it raised the bar, straight up raised the bar. But speaking of bars and raising them, our returning guests, I think it's been like a year, maybe year and a half since he's last been on here. A lot of you guys know he does a cool Wednesday night show. I talked Bigfoot with him once, and it was really rad. And welcome back to the show, JT Gunn. It's been a bit. I know usually if you're not on here, you're usually listening in the chat anyways, which it feels good to just have you back on here. It's about time. Let's not make this be such a long wait again.
Okay, yeah, definitely. First of all, please don't kill me. I want to be in the sequel.
Oh, he wants to be in the follow-up for Toxic Tuesday. That was good. That was good, man.
Yeah. I was. I'm glad to be back on. It's been a bit. I think I can't remember what movie it was, but it was. I think it was a Van Damme movie. But I had a blast, so I'm glad to be back. So, yeah.
It was a Van Damme movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The biggest dick you've ever seen?
I think it was Iron. No, it was. What was it? I don't remember. I really don't. But maybe it was. Maybe it was
this one.
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
No, I don't think it was that one.
I like to play that anyway. It doesn't.
I saw a photo earlier of Dolph Lundgren on Instagram, Arnie, and I'm just thinking in my head like, I just wish that photo was him and Brandon Lee. So that way, if Brandon Lee had an Instagram, his caption would be me hanging out the biggest dick that I've ever seen on a man. Just like that. So I like in my mind, Arnold's face was Brandon Lee's, except 30 years older. I was so bummed about it.
Well, I'm excited to watch this or not review this movie with y'all. I do remember Scream. I was like 14 when it came out. It was one of those movies where you kind of snuck out. For me, anyways, you snuck out and watched it. But it was always a blast to watch. I don't know if it really ruined horror movies, but I'm not a big horror movie buff. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't. I'll like to hear from Tom an explanation on what it did. So that'd be interesting.
Well, Mark, do you got the sliding?
Oh yeah. We can slide right in now. Yeah,
yeah.
Everyone else slid in.
Pump it up, and as I mentioned earlier, just make it go at fierce lightning. Because now that we're gonna do the second hour thing with the rumbling, just let it rip, man. Dude, no way! Handy Randy is back.
Handy Randy's here. Awesome.
Oh,
hey.
Dude, Handy Randy says. First time I'm back and Nick talked about a dude saying, I knew you let me down, you quit. You just wishes your hand in your dick, Handy Randy. Oh, wait, you don't have a dick. Oh.
Also, dude. Nick, congratulations on your Rumble live stream virginity being taken.
Well, is it working?
Is it working? Is anyone on Rumble?
One. My first on Toxic Tuesday. No, we're live on Rumble. I'll post the link really quick. So be wary. I can't prove anything, but apparently YouTube does not like when we post the links in the chat. I'm gonna post this one time. You guys tell me if it sends you there, and I'm probably gonna. So let me know. I know we got 30 of you in here, which, by the way, thank you. Appreciate that. Save that link. That way, right-click it. That way, when we get to clips, you can all be there and join us and migrate. It's going to be diabolical. It's going to be huge. So I want you there. So right-click that link, save it, open up that separate tab. Damn it. I'm sorry. I guess I dialed the wrong number. All right, send him there. Okay, it officially works. There you go, guys. The link gets it up. That's for sure.
Oh, wow. We started the movie already.
Yeah.
They were early. Oh, and I like
well,
the way that I like the way the overlay light, the background light lines up for the screen.
that's awesome.
Very, very toxic.
Oh,
So we get the Psycho opening here, of course.
And you know,
This is a great opening.
No, this opening shocked me when I first saw this when I was a kid. Because I was with the guys. We were watching this movie. You know, we had our 1,100 pizzas and 8 liters of Mountain Dew. We're picking up a bunch of movies to watch. Oh, let's watch Scream. And I remember like being absolutely shocked that Casey, aka Drew Barrymore's character, straight up got killed off right away. Because when you look at the posters, I kind of like, as a kid, I assume she's probably gonna be the main character of the movie.
Yeah,
Her legs look weird.
Like, bro, what? Hold on, is this movie? I actually thought, is this movie like gonna be over or something? Like, because like to me, that was like it didn't make sense. I was like, what? Like, what? How did you go on? And then I realized that was.
I think Half of America did that.
Dude, I can imagine. And you learn later on that was actually her idea.
It was her idea, yeah.
Yeah. It was actually her idea to say, you know what, let's just come up because no one will expect it. And you know what? It damn sure worked in a day and age where predictability is absolutely on the uprising because nothing has any sense of suspense. It's nice to see that there was an actual shock value, not just in the killing aspect of it all.
Was she working on like a Hollywood comeback?
Well, they actually wanted her for Sydney. She had kind of done a few things here and there. And they had gotten the bright idea. We kind of have to rewind this a little bit because Kevin Williamson was kind of the
creator
of this whole idea. And this is very much a part of like, he was just one of us, right? Like he grew up on Halloween and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff like that. And, you know, he also noticed that horror movies weren't really changing, even though the audience has kind of changed, right? Like, to a point where tropes had come into the franchises, you know, like we already kind of knew where certain things were going to be. If a woman ran up the stairs or did this, that, if you have sex or do drugs or whatever, you know, all the little tropes that we all kind of associate with horror. So kind of like that was kind of like the idea of what if a killer kind of was somebody who was raised on, you know, these kind of things. And this was also just out of or just in the midst of that era of where you had like the whole just out of the demonic scare with D&D, and you had horror movies that people were saying, and the video nasties and such, and video game violence and all that kind of stuff, and what kind
kids
of
these days
on kids. So it's kind of also the other part of this is, so what if somebody took their love of horror movies just one step too far, right? At the same time, it's also kind of a tongue-in-cheek satire. And it was original title was Scary Movie. And they just didn't quite like that, so they eventually ended up settling on Scream, which actually is a name of, I think, 2 other films prior to this, if I'm not mistaken.
Also, Michael Jackson. They heard the Michael Jackson name Scream, and Wes Craven actually hated the name change because it was the number
1 song, I think, at the time when they were, and Harvey just goes, "Let's call it Scream." Yeah.
Wes Craven hated the name, and apparently he was clearly, when it comes to making movies, Wes Craven is not afraid to do what he wants to do. Like, because originally they wanted to shoot the movie in Canada. He's just like, no, this needs to look like it was a movie that takes place in America. So he fought to the point where he almost got fired. They ended up settling on California. But
because I mean, I don't even remember who they wanted initially or who they were going to get. But then it just kind of happened to work out that Wes Craven wanted to make, I think he made this movie as kind of like a favor to get Music of the Heart done, if I'm not mistaken, with Disney. So it was like, or Weinstein's, let's be real, it's technically Weinstein's. So they made the deal, I believe, off of that predilection, but then this movie was the sleeper hit of 96, actually more of the beginning of 97, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it came
out
funny
December
enough,
96.
you know what movie dropped the same day this movie did and dominated the box office for a few weeks before this came back and finally made, I think it was the third or fourth week this movie was out when it finally hit number one. Does anybody else know what movie this came out against that Christmas?
Oh
Was
God!
it made?
Because this came out in
I
Christmas.
was there and I can't remember.
Oh man, there was a big dominant movie.
Something about Mary.
No, that was 99.
Oh no no
Beavis
no
and
no no
Butthead
no!
to
I
America.
don't know. I know.
Beavis and Butthead to America. Yeah.
We're gonna go do a bunch of sluts.
Die Hard.
No, it was Beavis and Butthead
Oh,
Do
Die Hard
America.
was Christmas. Oh, Die Hard was.
Yeah, because
in the
this movie
summer.
was
Die Hard
already out
summer,
like
yeah.
2 or 3 weeks when I went and seen it. Because I kind of got wrapped up. I think I saw this like the second week it was out. Because I remember when I went to see Beavis and Butthead, I remember me and my buddy were like, yeah, we got to go see that one, but we'll go see that this week or next weekend. Because we were there to see Beavis and Butthead, right?
Oh, of course.
And then so like I was amongst that group that saw it and were like, oh, you gotta see this fucking movie. Right? Because they did a piss poor job of advertising this movie. This movie was made by the fans. Because that's what happened was because me and my buddies, I imagine this was happening. I'm not saying it's like me personally, but I'm just saying I could imagine this happening across America. So you had like your
Word of mouth,
diehard, you had your diehard horror fans go to see it first, and then they drag their 2 or 3 friends to the movie, and then they drag their 2 or 3 friends. And this was also a perfect movie to drag a date to. Right. That was the other thing that had going for it. And so like by the third time we're going to see this, my buddy had like a mask like this and shit. So he's like fucking waiting for the right scene and he pops the mask on and the girls next to us are just freaking the fuck out and shit. This was like, it was popcorn flying and shit. This was like, okay, horror's back. Right. Because horror had really gone stagnant for a while. And at the end of the day, this is more of a whodunit comedy than it is a horror film. And we'll get to that a little bit more later. But yeah, so just this whole idea that and the movie's poster, the original poster didn't have the triangle of people. Right, like you have on the thumbnail right now, Nick.
Yeah.
The original poster was Drew Barrymore with her hand covering up her mouth.
I remember.
So everybody thought that Drew Barrymore was the star, and in all the trailers, it was all Drew Barrymore shit.
Yeah.
So like
Nev Campbell was a TV star, Party of Five.
Nobody knew who the fuck she was.
I did.
Well, maybe, but I'm just saying, like, it's like a great level.
I was 14.
I think Matthew Lillard and what's her face, who plays Tatum, were the 2 other most well-known actors in this movie at the time. Is my memory. Because I remember seeing Skeet Ulrich. This is the first time I seen him, and I'm like, oh, that kid looks just like Johnny Depp. Like,
yeah.
That's the first thing I know.
Yeah, we were talking about. We were like, he's the Temu Johnny Depp.
Yeah. And he aged badly. It's like how Johnny Depp aged well. He went the opposite direction. Have you seen him?
Sometimes Johnny Depp looks fucking dead and bloated.
Well, now, but that's because he's like 80. But like,
and did
you gotta
tons of
remember,
drugs.
Skeet Ulrich is also like 20 years younger than him too, but looks 20 years older. That's the problem now, because he's in the new movies and they try to make him look young, and it just looks bad.
Yeah, but this is a fun. Yeah, it's like word of mouth. You know, I've been out of the country, so you know, how is that new Joker movie any good? Is it getting good word of mouth, or how's that going?
Yeah, Mark. Like you don't know what's going on. Even though
Who wants to tell him?
There's some word of mouth for sure.
Yeah, Tom, you're
in the Joker movie. Yeah, no, I have been. You know, seriously, I do know how bad it is, but you know, it's kind of nice, you know, being out of the loop. And then my friend was texting me like, "When are you back? You want to go see the Joker movie?" And then I looked it up, the reviews, and I was like, well, maybe not, but yeah, a movie like this would get fantastic, you know, word of mouth. And then I took my wife to see this for a date, and yeah, it was a fun, you know, it's a fun, you know, movie that you can go see with you know, with a date and have, you know, like you said, throwing popcorn, the girls are screaming, and then you kind of try to put your arm around. I can protect you. Yeah. Like, yeah. If I saw this guy, I'd be, you know, out of the house pretty quick, or get out now, you know. But I love all the tropes that they're making fun of, you know, the horror movies where, you know, Nev Campbell, and she's damn, she's cute in this movie. And but just that first time on the phone when she's like, yeah, the stupid big breasted girl runs up the stairs instead of leaving the house, and all the tropes and all the inside jokes and the wink wink and breaking the fourth wall without really breaking the fourth wall. But that's what you're always thinking, like, how stupid are these people in horror movies? So she makes the movie too, because if she wasn't a good actress, and
no, she
great. Pulls it off. Yeah, she was a surprise. Yeah, because I used to watch I had to watch Party of Five with my better half, but she's good. No, she gets the job done, and she's without that, without feeling for pulls it off. And the boyfriend, man, is he creepy?
Oh, dude, Billy, yeah, he is a total creepazoid. Seriously, I remember when even though I was
a politician,
he climbs through the window like Zach Morris.
When I saw him as a teenager and thought he looked like Johnny Depp as a teen, I'm like, man, I was like, man, if Johnny Depp were a mass murderer, that would be him right there. Like, seriously, he was Johnny Depp gone serial killer. Like, yeah, he had especially when you see him on the photo of the promo photos, he looks like total 90s boy, with the pretty boy look. Yeah. And then you see him in this, like, wow, he looks so much more deranged than that. I will say what was nice that they did, because this is something that's one of the worst tropes that has happened, especially in a lot of sequels, particularly in slashers, is that a lot of the character arcs have been absolutely destroyed, deconstructed, whatever. Just add it and it fits. And now and the characters have become
kind of what this movie is all about, is deconstructing all those tropes, right?
Well, yeah, it is about that. However, you do get some actual character arcs in that again, which is something that I like, because when the character arcs are so useless, you end up rooting for the killer because the characters are so useless, unlikable. This movie brought character arcs, obviously, with Nev's Sidney Prescott, which is
what it did is made the character
and her rivalry with Gale Weathers.
Well, yeah, it went against most of the tropes. Some of the characters do feed into the tropes, but at the same time, it made them real, right? Yeah. Like, that's the big difference between this and the other horror movies, because that's what the thing is all those other characters that are usually tropes, right? You have your goofy guy, you have your druggie, you have your jock, you have your sexy girl, you have your introvert, your nerdy girl, or whatever. You have all those tropes in every one of these movies, usually the black guy, or whatever. Whatever it be. And in this movie, they play with those tropes, but at the same time, like, Nev is the main character, actually breaks some of those tropes, right? Like, she has sex when she's not supposed to and shit like that.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, and of course Dewey here is probably the greatest character of all. Like, nobody expected him to be the standout.
Was this before or after, right when Friends started with Courtney Cox?
This is after.
Oh, this is after.
Yeah, because I think especially by the second one, there's even a joke they make that's a direct crack. It's something that was going on. Like, there was the nude pictures going around of not Courtney Cox, but the other one.
The blonde, the Disney blonde, or
no. Jennifer Aniston, yeah.
Oh, Aniston.
So, but what it was somebody just took some nudie photos and put her head on it. So that's why they have that joke in the second movie. Like, I saw those nude photos of you. It's like, it's not my body, it's just my head or whatever.
Yeah, because she was pretty popular.
Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, she was the main. Actually, now that we mentioned stars in the beginning of this, yeah, if anything, she was like the biggest star in the movie.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This movie also, I didn't realize that at the time, but when I go on to watch other movies, as I was going over, I realized this movie introduced a lot of unknowns I didn't realize until rewatches. Matthew Lillard, obviously Rose McGowan, Jamie Kennedy, Liv Schreiber.
That's what I too. Yep.
Yeah, Schreiber. Yeah,
he's barely even in this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he has his one part.
I think he did this as like a favor or whatever. It's like, because he was like, I think he was on this in the studio making some other movie or something like that, and he just come over and they're like, "We need you for like a day to shoot this thing," and he's like, "Okay."
Right. And then there was what I Know What You Did Last Summer that came right around.
Oh, dude!
See, and that's where we talk about the effect, my friend, and that is what happened there. You had the I Know What You Did Last Summers, the urban legends. It was all that kind of crap, and it kind of got broke even though the movie that kind of used the tropes to sell it, but kind of broke that was the Final Destination.
Final
I love
Destination,
that
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
still don't drive
still
behind
know
trucks.
what you did last summer. We actually caught at my local theater. We caught the 25-year anniversary of the first. I Know What You Did last
I hated
summer.
that fucking movie.
I like the first one. Second one,
I almost got kicked out of the theater during the first one.
did you really?
Yeah, because
Did you stand up and scream with your boobs out?
what happened was my buddy drugged me to the movie, and motherfucker's like, "This is better than Scream, yo."
Oh God, no, not
And I
even
ended
close.
up, it started out okay, whatever, and then it got going, and I'm like, I started calling who was going to get killed. Like, I literally predicted the entire movie, and I said, I know who it is. It's so and so, and blah 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 blah. And this guy in front of us goes, "Dude, if you've seen the movie, then shut the fuck up." I said, "That's the problem. I haven't seen the fucking movie yet."
I'm psychic. Hey, this is a good Joker smile here, right? Maybe he could have played the Joker.
Right?
Oh,
He
would
does
been
have a good Joker
back
smile.
in the day.
I love his character as well. He's the prude, and he's the one open and bragging about that. I gotta acknowledge this because I've been holding it for a while.
I
Sorry,
love
Nick.
this line. Thank
Nick
you,
the
Nick
Greek.
the Greek.
Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative. Tom Connors, probably.
Yeah.
I see what he did there, Nick the
Did you
Greek.
really call
Thank
the
you
cop?
for the $4.99.
I did. Oh my god, my
Oh, she get mad. Oh, I love it. And Lillard, he gets all creepazoid right away. 'Cause
deep, you fucking dick. I'm getting a little woozy here.
No,
Lillard
dude.
was always like the crazy guy in every movie. He was always like kind of like that.
And he is so down to earth. I haven't met him in person, but I interviewed him for the channel.
Yeah, I
And
remember
he
that
is
video.
so fucking humble. Dude is just so like not Stu. Like or Shaggy, or any of that shit. He is just so quiet and introverted, and yeah.
Yeah,
It's
always liked him.
interesting that he was not he's not happy with his role in this movie. From what I hear, he was not proud of this role. I wonder if it was maybe because he got tied to being a killer and maybe kind of like backfired into like the after effects of a real life.
Probably
thing.
upset he got killed in it, so he couldn't come back for the sequel.
Yeah, he did act. Did he actually say that as he got stabbed and that he was hoping to come back? Oh, that line had me cracking up. And I'm glad you speaking of sequels and genres. That's something this movie does do well is be two things and still be one coherent movie. Because usually when you jumble things, well, not to make about Joker 2, but you get the point when it tries to be a musical and a drama. And
Well, that's where
just
Scream
being so
2 is
polarizing.
one of those rare movies where you can almost make an argument that it might be better than the first movie in some ways. Or at least it's like a Godfather 2, Godfather 1 kind of thing.
I actually thought the second one was really good. I know that it seems like there's
because
not
it
as much
comments
enthusiasm.
perfectly on sequels, right? Like
Yes.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I thought the second one was excellent. I still think it's
And then you literally have
just
the
as much
killer
as this
taking
one.
it to the next level, right? Like his whole plan is he's going to get out of this by blaming the movies.
Yeah. We should say that in case we decide to do 2, because I think a good future would Scream 2 should be inevitable. Hello,
Inevitable Campbell.
Inevitable. This I will say I did expect Sydney to have this funny conversation to start off with Ghostface right away. Usually, because once again the trope is they get scared right away. But obviously, her character, she's been through a lot. She's kind of like in this whole mindset of, okay, please drop the gig. Who you trying to crap? You ain't fooling me. So she's got more sass. She's not with the BS. She's definitely like, until she Ghostface says some things that come off as some serious red flags that actually get her attention. Like, oh, okay, now I'm taking this seriously. So Ghostface had to do a little extra work with this one. Yeah, he had to put in some work.
Well, it's not easy. Not easy being a killer.
The irony of that statement. It's not his.
Do you think this whole phone call thing would work in the modern days with cell phones?
No.
No.
I was just thinking that too. Yeah, the cell phones kill.
It's another reason why the new
movies.
movies suck.
Well, you have the caller ID right on these phones. Some of us.
Well,
The
I
only
think
thing that
there's
works
star
for 'em-
69, I think. Was there
The only
star
thing that works.
69?
The only thing that works for
69.
him. The only thing that works for him that is actually in this movie already is the cloning of cell phones, right? Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So they've already used
That was really
trope.
easy back. That was easy back then, but well, relatively easy, but a lot easier now with the digital. You know,
But now you can get a phone call from
phones were in it.
yourself.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, they spam yourself, so you get a phone call. It's like someone calling from India, but it's
Yeah.
not you. Yeah, but
Give me
Oh,
back
so
my
phones-
phone,
it's
please.
so easy. Like
Yeah,
today
now
I
they-
would have. I have cameras all around my house, so I'd see the dude coming from a mile away. Like the
Wow, that's
look
a
at my
lot of
iPad.
juice to see.
I
Yeah,
just think
no,
one
but it-
time though that the dude should have changed it up and be like all like,
Hello there, Sydney. What's your favorite romantic comedy? I'm kind of partial to Julia Roberts.
Yeah,
just something different, you know?
yeah, because like if you could think like you would probably be able to track them better, and you could see them on your cell phone. Or you probably wouldn't even answer because most people don't even answer phones numbers that
Yeah.
have nobody on it. So
I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
They'd be texting you like, "What's your favorite horror movie?"
That's
block
that's
number block on the text. Yeah, WhatsApp.
WYD. Hey.
Hey. Wait, Mark and see if I
Well, the problem isn't so much the killer now, is that the audience, all they'd have to do is Google all the answers. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Modern
thinking that too. Yeah,
modern technology, as much as I love it and we're using it right now, it's definitely not lost on me the effects of what it's done to storytelling, especially in particular genres, because it solves a lot of problems that it's like, okay, well then there kind of goes the point of the movie per se when you have the modern technology, because when you have these, I don't want to say obviously it's not the Stone Age, but we'll just say the before times for a term for conversation. You can have the story carry on and have the suspense, but yeah, the technology you can find, and then with everyone can have a voice recorder now. It wasn't something that was just like, oh man, this is rare thing someone's using. Nowadays, everyone can modify the voice. Everyone could try getting up on each other.
Yep.
Cameras everywhere too. That's the thing. Someone will caught these guys being in on the plan. Everyone's got a phone on their hand, so someone will have caught one of them changing it. Like, hey, there's just one guy who's
you
in
can you can text someone
Ooh,
while you're texting this person and say, look, this weird person on the phone with me, should I call 911? So
yeah, it's definitely
it's how she
definitely
dials
drawback.
911. How she dials 911 on the computer. I mean, it's a pretty.
What if you cut the phone line? How did that even work?
yeah, right.
Yeah, because back then you would only have one phone line to that, or maybe if you, it's a pretty wealthy looking house, maybe you'd have 2 or 3
They
phone
probably
lines.
had
We
Maybe.
had 2.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah,
a big deal when we got 2
people-
phone lines.
people-
We were
Fiber
poor,
like-
but I had 2 anyway.
Poor.
How the heck did she call 911 on the freaking? I gotta watch that scene again. Where I didn't go back, but how the hell did she dial 911?
Well, it was
That's
on
the
the
old
keyboard
modem
thing.
shit
Yeah, I
for-
remember that stuff. I do remember there's stuff like that. It wasn't like it was everywhere, but I can imagine someone like her specifically had that connection, considering what happened to her mom. So she probably had every facet possible to dial just in case a killer came, because she was still considered a hot target, and she's still a lot of publicity going on, and her dad was away, so it's good to have your ass covered wherever you can dial that number, no matter where you are in the house.
Why didn't he leave her with a weapon like an 870 or something?
Oh
Come on.
yeah, well yeah, that too. You definitely need yeah. Someone should have definitely took her to the range. Like, all right, hey,
This is California,
Sydney?
homie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
true.
but this is California in the 90s though. He could
Yeah,
have still had a gun.
this is
So this
Republican California.
Yeah, this is
Barely,
Yeah, but he was still pretty
barely.
anti everything, the Republican.
Oh man, no, California. This is still before when.
there it is, right there.
Yeah,
So
there
he-
you go. Oh,
Yeah,
look, F
The
typer.
Deaf typer.
Yeah. Well, I would
Then
call
I mean, I mean, yeah, there was stuff back then, but it was unusual. I remember spending like 3 hours trying to set something up. So a friend of mine, so his daughter could talk live with her boyfriend and have video over dial-up back in the late '90s, and they had this program, and they worked. It took like hours, and and after a while, I'm like, just make a phone call. You'll never be able to do video phone calls, right? With 4.8 kilobits a second. So, but yeah, it's minor. And then I actually have a phone that looks just like that, or pretty close. I was trying to find it, but I think it's tucked away somewhere. It's in my collection of old cell phones. But yeah, I mean the phones were pretty primitive back then too. So that's why, and it's kind of unusual to have a cell phone, I guess too. So when he gets hauled into the police station, like, what are you doing with a cell phone? Like everyone's got one now.
They were huge. You couldn't. Those things were carrying those things was like trying to put a Walkman in your pocket. It was always awkward to have one of those things in your pocket. They would
had
in your pocket, Nick.
It would be like having like a side boner. It's just like, okay.
The only people with cell phones was Zach Morris and Miami Vice. That's the only people.
And they were like $100 a month for 30 minutes.
Holy crap! Were they really?
Yeah. My grandma had one for a while.
I had the StarTAC because my parents got it for me because I traveled for sports a lot. So they're like, you have to call us if you're ever in trouble. And it was like this flip phone, but if you called for like 5 minutes, you would get charged a crap ton of money. So you had to literally make sure you talked quick. So it was wild. From Radio Shack. You would buy it from Radio Shack.
Oh, dude, radio. You want to talk about the 90s, Radio Shack. Oh, my God. I remember when Pepperidge Farm style on Radio Shack. Jeez, the freaking wheeze, man. Oh, the 90s.
Oh, it was a great time. It was a great time to be alive. Yep.
Yeah.
But here, I'll show my cell phone that I always show.
Yeah, show it up.
Old. Let me see if my camera's set up here. Where is it?
The brick phone.
Oh, the brick phone.
It's a rotary cell phone, isn't it?
See it.
Yep. Let me take. I have no lights on in here. Let me put the lights on.
Oh, you're in the dark.
That looks scary. I look fucking scary. Anyway,
there you go.
Yeah, my grandma had that one first, like the Motorola version. Yeah.
So this is.
Yeah. So the StarTAC phone was smaller than that.
What's in your pocket? What's in your pocket? Yeah.
The battery. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was trying to find that other cell phone, but this is later iteration, like early '90s, but of course all the keys on them. Yeah, it's a BlackBerry type. Is it a BlackBerry? Let me see. I know this is not a tech show, but look at the cover. What the heck is this? I think it's a Sprint, like a Palm. Oh, it was like a Palm Pilot version.
That's a Palm Pilot, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like a Sprint version. Yep. Wow. And then I have like, here's like this is another 90s. I have a whole box of cell phones, but here's an old.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Remember this with the Samsung with the keyboard? So kind of like around that time period, but yeah, it was a big deal to have a
Blueberry. Yeah, I was gonna say I remember the BlackBerry.
Yeah,
I love my BlackBerry, man. I had a BlackBerry Bold 9000. That was awesome.
BlackBerry, yeah.
Did you have a
These
huge
keyboards
BlackBerry?
are great, though, yeah.
I had a big Dingleberry.
All right, back to the slide.
The sidekick. Oh,
because I was gonna say this movie holds up, but it's like a time capsule too.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
I would agree.
Not just because of the technology, but a lot of the hairstyles too. A lot of the hairstyles. Like I remember a lot of the preppier, jockier dudes. A lot of them had the frosted blonde hair tips. That was a big trope. Or they had the Johnny Depp haircut, like our Johnny Depp serial killer looking guy. They had that haircut too. That was the very popular one.
V-neck sweaters.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. There's definitely. And the clothes you could definitely tell they're from another time too. The clothes are definitely from another time. Yeah. I'm trying to think what other Not now. Ghostface, so his suit is timeless. You could throw that suit in I'd say as early as probably the 70s. Obviously, up until now, because we're still getting Scream movies. Randy. I had frosted tips while they were from a hair salon.
His hat would have totally stuck to his fingers.
The massive shoulder pads on women's clothes. Yep. I don't remember that, but maybe if I saw a photo, maybe I would know. David Arquette, Dewey. What a name for him, Dewey. I can't help but think about Dewey Cox. Yeah. When I hear that, I'm like, even though Dewey Cox came way out there from John Cena, is that a toy firefighter hat? Doesn't it look like a toy firefighter hat?
Ma told you when I'm in this uniform, you treat me like a man of the law.
Oh, yeah, with Rose McGowan. She keeps going, Dewey.
Shut up, Deputy Dewey.
Does he become a lot cooler in the second movie, or in terms of getting
kind of? I mean, yeah, he doesn't get shit on as much anymore or whatever. I mean, he does by other people who don't know him anymore, but then he kind of does become kind of the protector of the kids.
Ooh,
which is kind of why people are so pissed at what happened to him in the fifth film. But yeah,
here's another thing when we're talking about tropes of how things work back then. And it kind of brings it back to technology, how long it took to access the phone records. Nowadays, we know that shit instantly. The time. So we'll make it not just about the technology, but the time it takes to find out things. Nowadays, this will have been found out, and he would have been out instantly. He probably would not even been. He probably would have been in that room for about 10 minutes.
She thought it was him, right?
Oh yeah. Because what happened was, as she actually set up the Ghostface Killer to trap her from coming into the room, he comes in from the other side, and as he hugs her, he drops his phone, and she immediately thought, well, this guy just called me from a phone. It has to be him. And the timing of it made it look like it was him, which it was. However, there's more to it than meets the eye. And so it was a smart bait and switch to make it look otherwise.
Hey,
the movie
there.
is good.
Would that say boob something?
I always wonder what that had said. Like we all had our
boob inspector. I think it said boob inspector. Yeah.
No, it looked like it's a les something. Oh, yeah, go. Are those ones like stress balls? Oh, you're right. It is an eye.
Those are ping pong balls.
Oh,
it's got to be boob inspector. It's not. It doesn't say "Make America Great Again," does it?
No.
I wish, but no.
And I love those IBMs model.
Oh,
90s, yeah.
Those big old screens there.
The PS2, I think those are like PS2s to me, but maybe some in the chat. Let me know.
Those are feminized stress balls. You don't want feminized stress balls. If you want some sack in your hand, that could be your stress balls.
Was Billy's dad like the mayor, or was he like? I can't remember.
Billy's dad. I don't recall Billy's dad being a mayor. I don't recall Billy's dad having too much of anything. Unless I'm missing something, Tom. I mean, fill me in if I'm
sorry. What I missed?
We're talking about Billy's
dad. Was his dad like someone popular in the town? Was he like a rich kid too? I couldn't remember.
I think his dad's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be a little like almost all these kids are pretty much upper class except for Randy. I think, and maybe Stu.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm feeling.
We never really get to know anything about Randy or Stu's folks at all.
And what's that comic Cops there? Is that supposed to be like a silly game or something, or
it's a
action figure
safe for Sega underneath his right hand because it's got that blue font, so it's safe for Sega.
Yeah. Video game, all right.
I think they're just like plastic handcuffs and shit. They look like the ones we get at the junk store.
Dustin, good point about the caller ID.
Shit like that. The ones that would come with the targets and crap. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Caller ID is another one. That was a huge one.
I don't know, Google it and see what comes up.
Caller ID, and if you didn't have caller ID, used once again star 69. And for the ones who blocked it, you did because then you could do the star 67 if you had to go the extra mile, do you remember star 67? Like for those who are trying to block the number, that would straight up unblock it, especially if you were getting prank called, because back then you couldn't get prank called. I mean, sorry, back then you could get prank called. Nowadays, prank calls are almost pointless because now you get your phone. They'll say if it's a spam number. And if you don't recognize the number, most people don't pick it up if they don't recognize the number unless they're like, applying for a new job and they got maybe like, oh, hey, I don't recognize this number. This could be who it is for potentially the interview. I think that's about it.
When someone calls from Nigeria, you don't pick up telling you've won the lottery. I mean, you don't answer. Shit, my Google phone now has an AI on it that like screens the calls for me. It's like people have complained they haven't been able to get through to me if I'm not in their address books. I'm like, send me your. I have to add you to my address book because the AI is like, you don't know Mark, you're not getting through. F you, leave a message. Yep.
Yeah.
I caught it, Vince. I mean, it was very obvious. I mean, I'm sure most of us when we watched it, we caught the reference to Loomis. Obviously, Halloween, we get it, because obviously the Kevin Williamson, I think that was his favorite horror movie was the first Halloween. So that makes sense why he put a lot of Halloween in the movie, up to and including the actual movie itself. What a translation to go from Dawson's Creek into Scream, aka what was supposed to be Scary Movie. So clearly the guy had talents, but yeah, he almost didn't get the script. He really had to fight tooth and nail to get this thing going. So, once again, I say this about The Matrix all the time. If this didn't come out in 1996, who knows if this would have not come out today? It probably would not. And if it did, maybe it would only help because it's a horror movie, because horror does seem to be one of the few genres that tries to still make something original. So I guess maybe it has a chance, not as bad as something like a big action movie like The Matrix. At least the horror genre seems to want to take chances, because I know last year, what was that one movie that did well? I didn't see it, but it did fairly well. Megan did well.
Megan did well, yeah.
Megan did well. I know Graham Nolan spoke very highly of that one, and he was a big fan of it. I think he even did a Halloween special on it last year on his channel when he was talking about it. So yeah, it shows you like if you really want originality, if you are into horror, you're probably gonna be the luckiest as far as new ideas are concerned, because they seem to be the most welcoming of it.
And who's the dude in the photo? Is that Rick Springfield or what's his name, or Jesse's girl dude, or who is
That's
that?
Tom. That's Tom with hair.
Wow, Tom, you are
looking good.
Tom is
I was sexy in the 90s.
You are a peak specimen. Like seriously, I think I can hear like some tents popping up in the chat. Like seriously, I mean our chat. So okay, so there's 35 people.
Oh, that reminds me of the Culture Casino song.
Do it. As this clip plays on, do the song.
Oh, Hobo Gandalf, walking around waking off, making children cry and women scream. He's ever been the owner's worst dream. He'll pitch a tent anywhere, a park in underpass or Delaware, and whenever he gets a chance, he pitches one in his pants. Flinging gins like fireballs, he begs for change outside of malls, ropes old ladies and washes windshields, likes to run naked through the fields. He's Hobo Gandalf, the homeless elf, smells like shit, pisses on himself. He gets drunk on wine, high on fentanyl. He may even suck your dick for a crack ball.
That song is so out of place.
Oh my God, the cock.
Thank you, Mr. Bond.
Everything that just happened,
Like that the most last night.
what was going on in this movie. Oh, there's our one scene with Liv Schreiber right there.
Yeah.
As he's get put into the car and then seeing get driven away. As the first and only time, I will give credit. They followed up on him for the sequel.
I thought that was cool.
They could have easily just kind of done this never to be seen or heard from again. but they made a thing out of it for the sequel. So yeah, man, continuity and storytelling. What a concept! But bro, homeboy, I'd say pre-Sabretooth had some freaking deadly eyes. I was like, bro. That boy do with that perfect mustache. But his mustache don't look 90s. That mustache looks 70s. That strip was like, he looked like he was in like some porno on like Beta. That look at that. Come on. Look at that. And he has baby face too. Like it's almost like the mustache was tacked on and not even a real stash.
He's working on it.
He's working early days of the puberty. He's still defining his stash. Eventually, he'll come through. I know you. Oh man, is this where she decks Gale Weathers? Yep. Oh, dude, I did not.
Oh, look at Rose McGowan in this outfit going to high school.
Bam, it goes down. Bam, Sydney, super bitch.
Yeah,
this is where she apologizes or whatever.
You have a great mustache, Juggalo. I've seen your stash, and you have a real stash.
You've seen his stash.
That's right. He punches her.
Oh,
cat fight. Come on, I want to see.
You know the saying, I wrote the book on it? Well, I literally wrote the book on this one.
Yeah.
I think it was part 3, but yeah. Whatever one it was.
Still absolutely hilarious. Oh, damn. So good.
This is probably one of her best roles.
Courtney Cox?
Down. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why they try to get her back, even though they didn't do so great with her in the 5th movie, that they, for some reason, were too lazy to call it Scream 5. Was it really that hard to call it 5? And then they went to 6 and now 7 soon. I think next year, I think, or in 2 years.
I hope this new one just ignores the last 2 completely.
Well,
and does an H2O / Halloween 2018 and just ignore. Because then you can just bring back Dewey and shit.
Did Dewey die? I never saw 6. Did Dewey get killed off?
Oh yeah, Dewey got killed by 5'0", 100 pounds wet chick he poo in part 5. Yeah.
Ugh.
He got jokered.
That was such a
kind of after Courtney Cox had divorced him and he was living in the forest like a fucking hermit.
Oh yeah, I remember that. In fact, because I saw 5 in theater.
They basically Luke Skywalkered him. Yeah.
I remember that with him in number 5. But man,
was that when it was?
Fuck you, kids! Why should I help you and shit?
Like
Was that when he was wrestling again too, or wrestling the first time? What year was 5?
I'm not sure. That would have been like 3
years
ago.
2022. 5 was 2022.
Okay, much later. Okay, no,
because he came out a year later because they must have filmed them fairly close to each other, and then they were going to have 7 come out, I think, this year. But then there was all those issues with the director, and 2 co-stars leaving. That they then got Neve Campbell back when they originally lost her for the 6th movie. Now they're getting her back for 7.
Well, she was complaining she wasn't getting paid enough, like a man would get paid.
Was it specifically that, or is it just paid?
Oh yeah. No. She said if I was a man, I would have gotten paid a lot more. So,
well, that's the irony of this whole thing, right? Like they didn't want to pay her for the last one, and now they're going to end up having to pay her probably 2 or 3 times what she initially wanted to get her back for this new one because they done fucked everything up. Yeah,
I remember this scene.
But Snow White was in the last one, didn't she? She didn't hold the movie. No, what's her name? Oh no,
Jenna Ortega was in the last.
It was Ortega. So, that was Ortega.
Like, she's the only reason I think anybody went to see the last 2 and liked them.
What a still.
I don't recall her. She was in 5. I don't recall Jenna being in 5.
She's the little sister. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
She's hardly in the movie, but she is in I think 6 a little bit more. But I barely watched 6. Like I literally watched it in like fast forward.
Ooh,
double speed or something. Yeah,
double the speed. So hey, Dustin, I think you want to share one of your pieces of of history.
Yeah, I was just throwing those in there for anybody who want to talk about them, but because I
I'll
was
let
finding
you
a bunch
take
of cool
credit
stuff.
for it.
Yeah,
You posted it, so go for it, man.
yeah. So, what I didn't realize, because I didn't know it was an actual until looking at Internet Movie Database today, I didn't know that the gentleman Roger Jackson was the voice actor, and it wasn't like just some mechanical voice.
Yep, it was Roger Jackson,
And
that's
nobody
right.
met him until like after they had like shot a good amount of it. They said it. Drew Barrymore, Nev Campbell did not meet Roger Jackson, the actor who played the voice, before shooting commenced. Whenever they were talking on the phone to the killer, they were actually talking to him. In fact, none of the cast met him. Craven thought that would be the best way to bring the shock reaction.
I don't think some of them met him until like after part 3 or something like that. I thought it was because they were like, I thought it was when they met up together at like one of the MTV Movie Awards or something like that. I thought like Nev and a few of the other guys are like, yeah, this is the first time we've actually met him face to face.
Wow. Well, I was watching a YouTube video. I was trying to look up that cell phone that was in some of the movies, and the guy had the cell phone from Scream 3. He somehow got the prop, and he said it was actually a real phone, and they had all the numbers of the characters. So I guess they were calling the phone and using it, during the filming, I guess, to help the actors, instead of just someone reading the reading the lines off screen. So it's pretty cool. The guy powered up the phone.
Well, for many reasons, it's probably just easier just to logistically have real. Yeah,
that's neat.
Well, one thing we were talking about here is, so in a little bit when Mr. Fonzarelli gets whacked or whatever, we were trying to figure out what's the purpose behind that. Was it just to throw people off the scent?
Yeah, because he was one of the possible suspects. So that's kind of what this part of the movie is about, is starting to carve out the suspects.
Yeah, because they have a couple scenes where you look at him and you're thinking like maybe if the Fonz is the killer. He's got
because everybody thinks it's either her dad, him, or the boyfriend at this point, kind of thing.
Right.
And maybe Randy is the wild card.
He's great in the scene too. I mean, he does a great job in this scene, scaring these kids with this knife.
Little
there.
shits.
Yeah, you're waiting for him.
Mr. Hembry, you're expelled. You're expelled.
But back then, the 2 students are killed, and all the kids still go to school, right? I'm not saying it's wrong to do it, but the school will be shut down and guidance counselors everywhere.
Oh yeah.
But, back in the 90s, you went to school, right? Even though 2 classmates were dead. No one questioned it.
On campus.
Do you ever really listen to his like little announcements throughout the film? Because he has like these little addresses, and like he's always like, "Okay, children," it's just some of them are a little funny. Yeah, you just kind of listen to them if you pay attention as they trail off in the scene. Yeah.
Very old school principal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A principal who
it's inspired casting, right? I mean,
Dana's fast.
Did we miss the Fred scene, or is that later?
Oh, I think we're about to be approaching it. Actually, which, by the way,
I thought that was just before she went in the bathroom.
Minutes,
might be the other one.
In 15 minutes, we're going to transition over to the green button. So
I don't want to transition. No one got my approval.
I came out of the closet for this, so
it'll improve my singing voice.
Are we gonna do Student Bodies? I have not actually watched the one, but you know what? Maybe one day, maybe we could. But how you doing, Andy?
Nick, have you ever done Wild Things with Nick Campbell?
No, we have not. That movie is way too straight. So if I ever were to even allow that one, I'd have to.
I propose an entire month
of Nev Campbell
of Nick Cage movies.
Oh yes,
it'll be Nick Vember.
We gotta do his vampire movie.
Renfield. Yeah.
By the way, chat, I posted the link in the chat. Chat. In
the movies.
This is where we're going to transition over to in about 15 minutes. We will play the remainder of the slide there, and we will play actual clips. And we'll have a few. We'll have a few laughs, a few cries, a few shittings of the pants. It'll be great. It'll be diabolical. He'll be Nick Giving. Nick,
Nick's gonna give me what?
My giblets. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Oh, wow. Gobble, gobble, gobble. There you go. Yeah, 17 people are now on the green button. Good. Yes. That's definitely where you want to be, because when we do the clip, it's going to be nice.
Woo.
Ooh, yeah. I could see those feet right there at the toilet, and there's that gown coming
Wait,
down.
don't misgender that person in the bathroom. He's in the girls' bathroom.
Yeah, we don't know how he feels.
I'm already going to assume him, so...
Girls wear combat boots, too.
Yeah.
Actually, I know quite a few that
Your
actually
mama
do.
wears combat boots.
Now, was this shot in an abandoned school, or is this actually an active school? Because I think they actually used the school for the cop shop as well.
I think this was an active school, but I remember at the time hearing that apparently the parents of the students at the school were not really.
Oh, that's
fond
right.
of this
Yes.
type of
Okay.
movie
Yeah,
being
the end credits. If you check the end
Thank
credits,
you,
it
Mark.
says,
Yeah.
no thanks to the school
Yeah, I put it
board.
in the-
It's like F up the school board, right?
Yeah, I put it in the
Oh,
private
did you?
chat.
I didn't.
Yeah,
catch
it's
that.
in
the
there
last
because
entry.
it was in California. They were supposed to they shot in Santa Rosa.
Okay.
And then when they read the script, one of the schools like kicked them out. So like, yeah, they had to go finish filming it somewhere else, because I think they ended up wherever they went to. Like, they end up using the same building as the police station, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Because like Sydney's house is a real house. I think Tatum's house is a real house. So like all those are like real locations, if I remember correctly. But the school and stuff like that was supposed to be a real school as well. But then yeah, they had issues with that once they read the script.
I got issues with the script.
Yep.
The Woodsboro. Well, another thing. Speaking of
Not to mention the MPAA had issues with this movie.
Oh, quite a few. They're pushing for NC-17 with this movie. I know
Every Wes Craven movie has to cut out like anywhere from 30 or so seconds just to get an R rating, it seems like. If not a little bit more.
Because
You should just put some more sex in there, would have been fine.
Because there are director's cuts of Scream and now Nightmare on Elm Street coming out this month, and they're all literally like a few seconds longer. That's it. Like, it's just a few random shots. Yeah.
Yeah, because what they said is that the MPAA was having issues. They kept cutting more and more and more, and then Bob Weinstein went in and talked to him, and then they got their R rating, and he asked him what happened, and he said, look at it like a comedy and not a horror film.
Yeah. Well, they're lucky it was Bob and not Harvey. That's
yeah.
I don't get me wrong. Like
Harvey would have come in there like, I'll rip your fucking throats out if you don't get this movie an R.
When I had seen this
I'll
movie,
fuck your daughters.
Or your sons.
When I had seen this, I thought it was awesome, and like, of course, it had moments of brutality, but it wasn't like the most brutal thing either. Not that it lessens the experience.
Oh, this is tame.
Suspense.
This movie is
That's
tame.
why I don't get why it
the
was given
problem
this
is, and that's where
17.
Bob won the argument, right? Because here's the thing: this movie is tame in comparison to the slasher films we like. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 came out a year or two before this. Jason Goes to Hell's a year or two before this.
This seems so tame, yeah.
Exactly. In comparison to the shit that was in those movies, how this even got rated R is beyond me. If anything, this is more PG-13. Oh, Fred!
Freddy, yeah, let me pause that.
Wes Craven in the original Freddy shirt, by the way.
Yeah, let me take the overlay off so you can see it better. Yep.
Hey.
Well, I think one of the things that there's a realism to this movie.
That's what I was getting to. Yeah, go ahead, Dustin. Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, there's a realism to the movie. Yeah, there's a lot of humor that you did. I mean, like the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Friday the 13th, there was some funniness to them. But like you'd never seen like with these, like when they're fighting back against the ghost.
Yeah, but those movies are gore for gore's sake.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's hardly any real gore in this movie. Like the goriest death is the boyfriend in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ending with the knives and the stabbing is kind of there's a little bit of
bad,
that.
and that's actually where most of the unrated stuff is. Like There's like, I think you can actually find it on YouTube. They have like the side by side where they have the theatrical cut with the unrated version, and it's just seconds, and it's like 1 or 2 stabs here or there. So instead of him going like 3 times, it'll just be 1 stab in the theatrical cut. And we've only seen the unrated cut on video and Laserdisc. We have not seen it in years. So like, it'd be nice to get it. Maybe it made its way to the DVD. I can't remember, but for some reason, when they did the 4K this last year or the year before, they only did the theatrical cut. So I don't know why, but yeah. And yeah, the big difference is in the beginning, in the unrated cut, you actually get a longer zoom in to Casey, to where in the version that we have now, Craven literally cut out like every other frame, so it goes like twice as fast. And then in the scene where Steve gets his guts spilled out, in the unrated cut, it's in a wide shot, so you literally see the guts go on the ground. In the theatrical cut, it's kind of worse than the theatrical cut because you don't see it, you just hear it, and it's on a close up of him. So it's your mind fills in the actual thing. And other than that, and the stabs at the end, those are the only differences between the theatrical and the unrated version of Scream.
So
that's it.
Just a few things. Okay, yeah.
Because when Skeet is like stabbing Stu like 3-4 times in a row, and he just keeps stabbing him, he stabs him like a hell of a lot more in the theatrical in the unrated cut than he does in the theatrical. Because you can sit there and go in the theatrical cut and go, well, he might survive that. But if you see the unrated cut, there's like, oh, dude's dead. Because he stabs him like a bunch of times, like over and over.
Yeah. So I forgot to mention this earlier when we were talking about Kevin Williamson and his creation of the story. This was like inspired by a true story. There was I'm trying to think. It was called Gainesville. There was a killer called the Gainesville Ripper. Someone correct me in the chat, but it's something along those lines.
Loosely based on something like that, yeah.
There was elements of this based on an actual killer who was going after the youngins and doing the killing.
In the second movie, right? There was a movie in the movie theater in this fictional
yes,
movie
it's
theater
the opening scene for Stab. Yeah.
It was based on this event. Yeah, okay.
Well, that's because they're commenting on how much impact this movie. Well, because there was actual Scream quote unquote Scream killers.
Yeah,
after the first film. Yeah,
our school banded the mask. You couldn't even wear that like for Halloween at our school. Wow. Like, you couldn't even have it. Yeah, so it was. Yeah, I could see that. So,
but I remember being in elementary school in the '80s and wearing a Freddy Krueger mask and Freddy Krueger claw thing in elementary school. So, like, yeah.
Now they banned the ghost face mask and Pongs.
The first thing I remember getting banned was Beavis and Butthead.
I love the light Randy Spot.
And then after that, South Park stuff. But yeah,
you're the only suspect in a senseless bloodbath. Would you be standing in the horror section? I was just like,
what's that movie where E.T.'s mom is in it and it's about a werewolf? The Howling.
The Howling. Oh, I love The Howling. Good stuff.
Have we
done the werewolf movies yet?
When do we get to see Jamie Lee Curtis's tits?
Not
until 1983.
Money. I don't know.
Yeah. I like that. Trading Places. She didn't show her tits till she went legits.
Yeah, that was one thing about this movie. I was like, where are all the tits? Because I was a high schooler and I'm like, where are the boobies? Why are there no boobies in this movie?
I want to refund.
They come later. Rose
McGowan had been in Doom Generation and everything, but
yeah, no, that's what I mean though. Is like outside of the few F words that are in this movie, it's really stretching it to get an R rating. That's why I'm so surprised. Wes just himself, right? Like. It's just the stigma that he carried first and foremost. Had some no-name Joe Blow directed this movie, it probably wouldn't have had any fucking problems.
Yeah.
This movie is barely above an R. I don't get it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't even think it's an R rated. I wouldn't even consider it R rated.
No, it's especially
well, I guess I'm a prude, but I guess with the violence and the stabbing, I mean, for kids to see it, I don't know.
Jamie Kennedy,
a 13-year-old kid.
I
don't know.
Kennedy.
To me, I've seen worse shit on CSI, Mark.
That's
my
true.
point.
Now, I guess, yeah. Now, I mean, back in the day, growing up,
even then, I mean, like the sad part is, I swear,
in the
I
80s.
remember.
I'm talking the 80s.
I swear I even remember when Dirty Harry was on the first time, there was more shit than some of the shit. When that was on TV, they used to let them get away with a hell of a lot more violence. Yeah.
Well, like if you watch all the autopsies on bones and stuff, yeah. But back in the day, 70s, early 80s, yeah, they wouldn't show that stuff. But it's
even that's my point, dude. Is like I would remember they wouldn't cut out so much of the violence. It was just the swearing usually, and the
no swearing, yeah. No swearing, but you wouldn't see as much blood and guts though on TV.
But again, I think it all depends. If you watch if I remember growing up, like movies like Rambo and like the one you just mentioned, like wouldn't always get edited so heavily, but like movies like Friday the 13th definitely would.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's what I mean. It always kind of goes with the stigma of what the movie is, right? Like a Schwarzenegger movie
got the reputation, right? Yeah,
would get away with a hell of a lot more than a Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street.
There was also several Hellraiser movies out this point too. Those
Hellraiser
are more brutal than this.
I don't even know how those got. Well, is the first? I don't even know. Are the first two even rated? Because I don't know if they are.
Were they? I don't know.
I don't know.
I just know that those are super brutal.
Because I know, like Romero, he released like the Dead movies without ratings at that point because he's like, "Fuck them, they're not going to give me an R rating." So.
Yeah,
yeah, 2 different decades.
Scene 25th anniversary is still. I just got the collection recently. I think they had 1 through 4. Because that was right before the 5th happened, so I didn't get stuck with the 5th movie. It was like the equivalent of getting stuck with the Ghostbusters 2016. Not gonna happen. That won't be my legacy.
It's like I remember taping Terminator off of TV, and the only thing they really cut out on Terminator, from my memory, was mostly the swear words and Arnold's butt.
I remember because I had it on
very
VHS
disappointed
too.
Then.
Well, yeah, I remember recording it off the TV, and there was all the stuff of like him in the mirror cutting his eye out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't. I'm like, I couldn't believe that, and that's one of the reasons my mom was so pissed. She's like, I thought they'd cut all this out.
Oh, and the boob.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like it's clear, especially back down with the MPA, there was a major inconsistency with what was. It feel like it wasn't judged off the rules. It was judged off of whoever's viewing the movie at the time, what they find to be sensitive. And
it's more so who's presenting the movie. Yeah.
Well, what one may find to be sensitive or too much for them at the MPA might be totally like I guess you could say mild to another. It seems like there's a giant inconsistency there. That
I wonder if they were worried
enough.
I wonder if they were worried that, like, because these are all young, they were young actors, and a lot of kids, teenagers that were watching them on TV shows were, like I said, were like 14 like me, and then probably all the way up to 18. So like, I wonder if that's why they were kind of worried that like a handful of these kids are going to go watch these movies. And maybe they were just worried about that making it R.
Honestly, back then they still weren't quite worried about. It wasn't until Columbine.
Yeah, I was thinking about that
was the moment that things really changed, where it was like because I remember going into movies like this when I was like 14, 15 years old, not having a problem. 16, I think it was when this movie came out. And they didn't bother carding us or nothing. They didn't give a fuck. Right?
How about they carded to see one movie?
I wasn't until after Columbine. That's when they started carding us at the theater. And that was because those kids were trying to blame a bunch of shit on the movies and video games they were playing, and they were basically pulling a scream, right? Like, and that's the thing. That's when I called bullshit on any of that stuff halftime, when they would try and blame that stuff. That's why I love the line in the movie. It's like, movies don't make psychos. Movies make psychos more creative. That is the exact sentiment that I think is true, because any person who's going to go out and pull some crazy shit like that or anything like that's in this movie is already got problems, right? They've got so many problems that this movie did not set them down that path. That path was already set before them. If anything, maybe it inspired something in them, but it doesn't necessarily mean they weren't going to do it anyway. Something else would have done it, right? Just be glad maybe it was this and not Saw, right? Because the evolution was Saw off of this. But yeah. Anyway, that's the serious part of the conversation. That aside, I mean, they're they're getting into the party elements here.
We're
anyways,
getting
so,
the
yeah.
party of it. We're getting close to the third act, and we're gonna let Dustin throw in one.
But if
little
you're
rate.
curious about how the rating thing goes, real quick, just to button that up, check out a documentary. I know it's older documentary now, but I still feel like it holds true. It's called "This Film Is Not Yet Rated."
Oh, I've heard
and
of
it gives
that.
you a
Yeah, I've
great
seen that.
breakdown of the system. And you're 100% right. 9 times out of 10, it's more so whose movie is it and who is getting a rating. So, like, if Warner Brothers, right, had done this movie and presented it at that time, probably would have gotten our rating, no problem. If it wasn't directed by Wes Craven, probably would have gotten our rating, no problem. But since it was a Dimension film directed by Wes Craven, that was one of the reasons it ran up against a bunch of fucking problems. And, you know, like, what I love about that documentary is I believe they have Trey Parker and Matt Stone. That's where they tell a lot of their, because they've told it a few different places. So I don't know if it was there or other somewhere else, where they've told their MPAA nightmare stories too. Right. Cause like when they made Cannibal the musical, there was nothing they could do to get an R rating. Like, and they wouldn't give them any feedback whatsoever. But they said the weirdest fucking thing is when they did Basketball in South Park, they got notes and they're like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, oh yeah, we got notes from the MPA. This is what you got to do to fix it. And they're like, well, they told us during Cannibal the musical, they couldn't tell us what to change because then that would be, you know, against their rules. And they're like, yeah, well, we're a studio. It's like, oh, okay. So that's the difference, right? So there's just one example, right? Of many. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, two things. One, we're going to be transitioning over to the green button. This is the last time I'm posting the link in the chat. And as we transition out, I would like Dustin to throw in one little last fun fact for our viewers, because it was something I actually never noticed ever.
So when Sydney's typing the distress call out on her computer to the 911 system, she enters so this was cut, but it was supposed to be 34 Elm Street, and then as her address, but then that was cut for time, unfortunately.
Of all the things, they should have kept that. So, all right, chat, this is the link. It's in the private chat. Please, I need all of you who want to still be listening to the show, transition over there. So thank you for supporting here on YouTube, but over here we can finish off the slideshows. We are now at the third act, and we can play some actual clips. So
We got stuck here as we. How do you do this? You just end on YouTube? How does this work?
I get to end it on one side. I do get to end it on
one
one
side.
side.
You can end it on one side. Yeah, don't hit the wrong side.
So
yeah.
I'm literally ending
zero on the other side.
I'm literally ending this in less than 30 seconds. So on YouTube. So please, once again, link is in the chat. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm trying to remove YouTube.
Let's get ready to rumble.
All right. I'm trying to.
I don't want to do too much like him or we might get copy claimed.
Yeah.
Hold up. I'm trying to. And
now I got to go to the Rumble chat.
He's quite litigious, I've heard. Yeah.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
I think I just remove it from YouTube.
I think if you do that, you actually delete it. I can't remember how to do it now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Don't ask me. I fucked it up the last time.
Oh, did you really?
I deleted like a whole Toxic Femme stream. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, too funny.
Yours.
We are still live on the YouTubes. Let's see.
We are still live on the YouTube. I'm literally trying to figure out how to do.
Someone tell us in the chat.
Yeah, someone.
We got the chat here.
Can we
take advantage of people that are much smarter than us?
Right.
What if you do remove? No, remove takes it out.
Yeah, remove clearly takes it out.
You can't do end stream because that's gonna.
And I know Comics Division has done it on there. Everyone should just Oh yes, I agree on that. So
does anybody out there know how to do this?
Please help. We are professional YouTubers. Where's Mexican Iron Man?
Where's Mexican Iron Man or somebody when we need him?
That is
that's where a producer would come in handy.
Oh, there could be.
If only we had a producer, Mark.
Yeah, if only Mark was here. Yeah,
Mark has to learn how to do this shit first, so we learn.
Yeah. Damn it! I've been trying to learn the new Melon StreamYard lab.
Doesn't matter.
thing,
This is the
whatever.
last week on StreamYards anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah.
right? No, I've been trying to learn the new one. I had to switch over to the new one. Yeah.
Screw it. I'm just gonna delete it on YouTube anyway. Honestly,
Well, don't delete it. Then we lose it.
Well, you can always go back in and download it and re-upload it anyway.
I could always just do that. So
If
screw
it's
it.
safe.
We're downloading it. All right. Yes, you picked the perfect time. So get on
Yeah.
over to the green button side, JT Carr.
Do it.
I'm deleting it. Screw it. We're canning it. We're not gonna do this rookie stuff. So it's
Do it
green
live.
time. All right, we're doing
There's
it
got to
live.
be a better way to do it. Someone will.
Whatever.
Not for
Somebody will
next
get a
week.
hold
I'm
of
saying
us.
for next week, someone will let us know.
Well, it
Yep.
doesn't matter because next week